Hi. The video is a quick guide to help you develop a simple but powerful and effective business strategy that will get you the results that you need. In my experience working with various organizations over the years, I have found that not many businesses know how to develop their own strategies. According to research, as many as 67% of businesses suffer from this problem. The reason appears to revolve around the fact that not many know how to do strategy, they find it difficult, and many are intimidated by the process. We will look at all of this straight after the intro. Hello, my name is Rui Martins and welcome to SenseCatcher, the app that helps you to simplify, map, explore and explain your thinking visually. And the reason that you need SenseCatcher is to make sure that you can solve your problems and work smarter in a fraction of the time. And that includes doing strategy. Before we get started, I would like to point out that although this video is about business strategy, it has also been used very effectively and successfully in areas such as career, personal, and professional development. The only thing that changes is the context and the nature of the discussion. Many businesses are flying blind as far as strategy is concerned. Now, we are not going to talk about why you need strategy. That is another conversation for another day, a very important one. But I can tell you that once you have your strategic planning sorted out, you'll find that many aspects of your business will simply flow into place. The main reason why people avoid doing strategy is that there are many tools, all promising the answer, but none of them provide the solution individually. And many people do not have the luxury of time to investigate and explore all of them and find out which of these tools best suits their needs. We also find that about 50% of businesses do not know how to do market research. We find they don't know who the market is, why people prefer them to their competitors, etc. And all of this is an integral part of doing strategy, is understanding your market. So it's about understanding your internal environment and the external environment of your business. The good thing is that strategy is actually quite simple to do. It's not rocket science. All you need is a method that delivers the results. It is nothing more than getting the information, shaping that information in a sense that you can make sense of it, and then testing it over time. This will allow you to navigate your business into the future and give you the confidence to make the correct decisions over time into the future. Having said that, let's look at our method that we use with our clients. So here we have a visual that summarizes our methodology consisting of 3 stages. The first stage is the visual mapping process. The second stage is actually testing in the wind tunnel, so to speak, your strategy. And then the final stage is the monitoring of the strategy. So this becomes a feedback loop where the boat is your business on the high seas, which has got to be navigated to avoid obstacles, storms, winds, etc. And this visual essentially describes what a strategy is, which is nothing more than describing how you're going to navigate through the external environment to get to your goal, where the little blue dot is your ship, your business, and you are looking into the future to identify how you're going to get to your goal. And we've got a tool for that, which we call scenario planning. And this is the meat of the strategy, which we recommend using 4 tools for: the pestle analysis, Porter's 5-force analysis, value chain analysis, and SWOT analysis. Now, all the investigation that you do, the internal, external environment, and your strengths and weaknesses, all of that gets mapped into a visual sense map. Now, if you don't know what a visual sense map is, we recommend you go to sensecatcher.com. There are many pages that describe the power of visual thinking and the importance of using this tool, visual sense mapping, that brings all this information onto one dimension where you can see the interaction and interplay of all these issues, which is quite a very powerful mechanism. Then here is a quick reminder of what not to do and the problems with SWOT analysis. In many respects, people actually think that if they do SWOT analysis, they have strategy at the end of that. No, what all you've got is a list, a huge list of bullet points, and you don't know what to do with it. At the best, you know what's unique about yourself, your company, but how do you bring it together? So the visual sense map actually brings all these criteria together, and then you are able to analyze and assess the interplay of these items, your internal versus the external, politics, etc. All of that is all visible at the same level, and you can observe, as I say, the interaction of these different criteria. So essentially what you're doing with your strategy is then considering, and this is what you do then use a scenario planning for, you're looking at the near future and the far future, if you like, so the short term and long term. You really need to have both in your sights. When you're planning your goal, and this goal post keeps on shifting, you really need to identify where you are now, where do you want to go, and how you're going to get there. All of these things with scenario planning becomes a lot easier to do. So essentially, this is what scenario planning is. What you've done up to this stage is you've got data about the past. You have got no data about the future. Scenario planning helps you to reconstruct or to recreate, or to create rather, the future. So essentially you've got a map, a visual map, which you can then tell the story in various forms of what the future might look like. So essentially what you've got is, with the various tools that we've identified, you've identified the driving forces, the critical unknowns, and what you now have to do is, using your sense map, you create plausible stories of the future, and you'd create 4 such plausible stories. So you use this sense map that you've just created, and you jiggle things around to tell the story as you see it. Essentially what we do is we create 4 scenarios, but we focus on 3. So the high road, if you like, the sort of ideal future, the future where nothing changes, and the dark future, the negative future. So you create 3 scenarios, and then you identify and you design your strategy that will navigate in those 3 scenarios. You then focus on one such scenario that you think is the most plausible and probable future, and that's what you tell yourself and your organization and your business as a team. You are then exploring what's required to navigate, to drive your boat in those conditions. Then being aware that with a strategy, it's like a roller coaster, as I said, with the high seas. Things are constantly changing. You really have to pay attention to the signals in the environment. So if the whole organization is involved, the whole business is involved, you're getting feedback where people are observing customer behavior or any signals that people come together at the table and talk about these issues, and that strategy gets tweaked. So you go back to your sense maps and you change those to account for what's happening in real time. And remember, as I say, this is all iterative. Now, one aspect that we find a lot of people have problems with strategy, is because they have problems with ambiguity. They're not prepared to do perpetual learning, so that reading the signals in the environment and the feedback into the strategy and changing with that new knowledge. Thinking like a designer. So we've all heard about design thinking. Essentially what that is the ability to have empathy. So not looking at things at a distance, but understanding it quite intimately, what your clients are feeling, how the market is behaving. So that closeness, that detail, and at the same time being able to look at things holistically. So that sort of duality of detail versus holism. And in the process, you're being innovative. And all of that ability allows you to keep your strategy fresh. And then navigating dynamics, so it's sort of related to ambiguity, and accepting the fact that you might be accused of things that you've got no control over. And that's basically our methodology. It's actually very simple. It's just a step-by-step, and using those tools, you once you map them, you will find out that there are things missing. So in a sense, the whole process is self-propelling. You move forward step by step, and there's no wrong or right. It's just a very rich process, ideally done with more people, so you can have a healthy discussion. Now, if anyone would like a copy of these visuals sent to them, just go to sensecatcher.com. At the bottom of the page, there's contact us. There's a form there. Email us, and we'll send you these visuals. Thanks for watching. Cheers.